Hello, everybody. Welcome to Borough Fan TV and the Monday Night Show with me, James Hutchinson. The second round of matches have been completed in Euro 2020, including the much-anticipated England-Scotland game. Joining me to look back at that match and their terrible predictions are Tony Guest, David Campbell, and free from blame from last week's fiasco, Damon LaRoche. Evening, lads.
Evening, James.
Right, lad.
Evening, lads.
Great to see you all again, boys. We're also going to look ahead to tomorrow's final group game with the Three Lions against the Czech Republic. So as we say, share your thoughts with us on the show tonight. There's loads to get through. Where did it all go wrong on Friday? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? How far will England get? All those things. Share them with us on tonight's Monday Night Show. So without further ado, Tony, I'll come to you first. The game was a bit of an anticlimax, mate. Although we beat Croatia, actually, on the Sunday before, there was a few people complaining after that game that maybe the build-up was too slow and we weren't on the front foot enough. And that was the same on Friday. What's going wrong, Tony, for you?
Listening to Gary Neville today, he was concerned that the players were looking lethargic and the players were looking tired, and it's like what he says. If that's the case, we are in shit street. I don't know, James. I just can't put my finger on it. We've got so many options to be an attacking force, but it just doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. Whether the old England shirt's starting to weigh a bit too heavy on the shoulders of a few of these players, I don't know. But Friday night we were just so lethargic. The kid from Leeds, Phillips, went from an absolute well beater to someone who looked as if he had the wrong size boots on. Second ball for us was non-existent. Scotland just seemed fest to every ball. Now whether that's because the Scots were wound up and, like you say, it was their cup final, they needed a result, to keep a foothold in the competition. Maybe they might have wanted it more than us on the night. And maybe we went into the attitude of most probably, like most of us did last Monday, thinking it was going to be pretty much a walkover for us. But as a spectacle, as an England-Scotland game, they're always tense affairs, James. You know what I mean? And even the end product, what we're watching isn't the best. There's still a great game of football to watch, and fair play to the Scots. My prediction came true. They never beat us. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the points. I'm happy that we've got 4 points, which seems to be enough. Which looks like it'll be enough to get us through to the next stage. But us as England fans, we have to cut a bit of slack. We've never been the best at these competitions. We had a great World Cup, and let's not be let's beat Czechoslovakia tomorrow, and let's not worry about who we've got in the next round. Let's just, we seem to be the only country that worries about who we're going to get when we've progressed a bit further. Let's just embrace it and enjoy it. But the group, you've got to get out the group, James. You have to get out the group. The first 2 performances haven't been the best. We haven't got the best out of Harry Kane yet. He's got to find some way to sort that out, because I'm not buying into he's not fit, he doesn't look interested, he's got other things going on. He's a world-class striker, James, and we've got to find a way to get the best out of him, like other countries get the best out of their strikers.
Yeah. We need to get players around him, don't we?
Yeah. I was just going to come to you, David, there. Luke Boy's been in touch. Thanks for watching, Luke. He said, I don't think it's coming home. And everyone was very critical. Like Tony said after the match on Friday night, it was almost as if it was the end of the world, yet we'd still picked up another point. But in terms of the team and its setup, the only changes from the Croatia game were the 2 full-backs that he changed. And I don't think, in a way, that had a great deal of influence or bearing on how the team then performed in the 90 minutes after that, was it?
No, I don't think you can blame the fullbacks for the scoreline and whatever. I'd just go with what Kesty said. I think the players went in with the wrong attitude. They believed it was going to be an easy game playing against championship players, and we all thought it was going to be an easy ride, even though we knew that Scotland were going to give 10% more. But Southgate got it wrong completely tactically on the night. Scotland wanted it more, and fair play to them. They can celebrate a point for the first time in 22 years there.
I felt. I'm sorry, Dave, but I felt our fullbacks let us down on Friday night. Especially James. James looked totally caught in the headlights for me. For what he is for Chelsea, for England the other night, he was piss poor. He didn't get half line. I know he had Robertson and Tini, but he had all that open space down that right-hand side, and he didn't exploit it. He didn't make no runs in behind. And for me, I think he was just a bit caught up. Kyle Walker, I thought it was a bit harsh dropping Kyle Walker because, like you say, he's up and down all the time.
Well, I actually thought the wing-back change, the full-back change was more offensive, taking Trippier out and putting Luke Shaw on because he likes to bomb forward. But like you say, both of them didn't get past the halfway line. They just got pushed further back.
Yeah, and I think when they did get forward, the delivery was poor as well. And I think that's a big point as well. If you're going to have Kane in the team and you've got other forwards like Sterling involved, so you've got to get the delivery into the box has got to be good. And it wasn't all night, was it?
Well, you mentioned that, James, didn't you? A couple of shows ago with Alexander Arnold. Someone like him in the team can just whip a set piece or a cross out of nowhere. And we haven't got that.
No. Damon, thanks for joining us tonight. Glad to see you, mate. Lee Bailey was another one that steps in on the show. He was at the game on Friday and he said he's calmed down a bit since then. We all know how hard it is to beat a team who put 10 men behind the ball, but we haven't conceded. Win tomorrow. We're back at Wembley again next Tuesday. In Gareth we trust. As Tony mentioned earlier, Damon, though, Harry Kane's also coming under the spotlight a little bit. I think he's had 3 shots, is it, in the tournament so far, and he only had 19 touches on Friday night in the game. Been subbed in both matches. Why do you think he's so subdued? Do you think it's a transfer speculation that's going around, or is he tired, or what do you put it down to, Damon?
For me, it could be just burnout from the season. To be honest, Tottenham have relied on too much, but it's no excuse, as Tony says. You're there to do a job. If you're not there to do a job, you let someone else take the job. For me, I think you should put Calvert-Lewin in on tomorrow. For me, because why not? You take these players, you got to use them. If you're not going to use them, what's the point in taking them?
Any of you lads want to come in on that? Would you start Calvert-Lewin tomorrow night?
No, if Harry Kane's fit, you start Harry Kane. You just have to look at his record, Damon. He's had 2 poor games for England. Yeah, we can make excuses for him, the supply's been poor. But
I agree what you're saying there, Tony.
What surprised me is
if he's off form, you don't play him.
I don't see by not scoring in 2 England games, but I don't class that as being out of form, Damon. I just
don't think we play to his strengths either, do we?
He's got 3 or 4 centre halves. He's got 3 centre halves jumping all over him every time he gets the ball. It's up to us. It's up to other players in the squad, in the team, to find a way to get that ball at Harry Kane where he's going to hurt teams.
Yeah.
Scotland came me with a game plan. They came me with a game plan and they said 3-5-2, try and break us down. We couldn't break them down. So you look at another formation and then you hope to build on that, and then hopefully we need tomorrow and then get out the group. But you want to play up against these big sides, because coming up against mediocre sides, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You want to
go on.
That's international football. You're gonna be coming up against mediocre teams 90% of the time. It's very rare you're going to be playing your Italys and your Hollands. It's usually at World Cups, and your Belgiums. It's usually at World Cups or European Championships when you're coming up against these teams. And it's like you say, it's them games that count, and it's up to us then. It's up to the manager then to find a tried and trusted system when we go up against these teams that we're going to compete, which I think Southgate's done in the past. But like you say, these first 2 games where he's insisting on using 2 holding midfielders at Wembley, which that's the only thing that's pissed me off, really. But, you know, there's not a cat and else chance. But no team, if Harry Kane was German, if he was Italian, if he was French, there's not a cat and else chance they'd start their last group game without him, whether he hasn't scored in the last 2 games.
Yeah. And you've got to mix it up.
Yeah,
I mean,
go on, David.
Sometimes you've got to mix it up. Harry Kane kept coming short because he was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
There's times in football matches when we've all played football before, you've got to go over the top. If they've got 10 men behind the ball, sometimes the long ball is the only option on to break them down and push them further back. And we didn't. We were just going side to side and back. And when that wasn't working, we had no alternative. And I think that's where Harry Kane
our ball players, Dave. Mason Mount was absolutely dreadful. I hope he is being not used tomorrow night, because he was absolutely dreadful on Friday night. He never got past the first man with anything.
Yeah, and same with
so with
Phillips and Rice. You know, it's all right playing 2 holding midfielders, but then when you're playing weak teams like Scotland, you need to go on the offence and change it. And there was just Jude Bellingham sitting on the bench. Why not bring him on? Try something a little bit different. And Southgate was just too scared.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, Matty A. Hope you're
Sterling had a shocker as well for me.
Who did? Sorry, Damon?
What, Damon?
Sorry, Raheem Sterling had a shocker.
I think it's obviously it wasn't a great performance the other night. I don't think it's helpful in a way saying everyone was a shocker and this, that, and the other. And I think the players themselves will know it wasn't great. But how much credit would you give, David, to Scotland for that? Because in fairness, they played well. England didn't play well, but some of that's got to be down to the opposition as well, hasn't it?
Oh, 100%. You know, as much as we laugh and joke about the Scots, they came with a game plan and they executed it. And, you know, we've all sat here as Borough fans when Karanka put 10 men behind the ball and got a 1-0 result away from Soanas. And if it works and it gets you points, so congratulations to them. But for a team who wants to progress like we are and we're one of the favourites, you need to do a lot better than that. But yeah, credit should definitely go to Scotland. Yeah. If they'd have got a forward who could have scored goals, we would have been in trouble in that match.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree. And that's the one thing, Damon, that we can take from the game, as Tony mentioned and David earlier on. We've got 4 points. We've got 2 clean sheets in a row now. And before the tournament started, many people were critical of our defence, yet we've kept 2 clean sheets. And I think Jordan Pickford's performed quite well in both games, especially the game against Scotland on Friday.
Yeah, Pickford's a hell of a keeper, really. He doesn't show it at club level, but at international level, he's different. Maybe it's because he's playing with a different caliber different caliber team. And but as far as our defence goes, Tyrone Mings, I'm a huge fan of Tyrone Mings. Well deserved to be in that back four. He's been solid, to be honest. Shins over John Stones, but he should have scored maybe that goal. But it is what it is, isn't it? We got to draw and we move on.
Yeah. Lee Bailey's with you on that one, Damon. He said he's been pleasantly surprised with Mings. I think many people have. Tony, as we said, though, and obviously it's come through from people's feedback about the game over the weekend in the papers, social media and everything. People have been highly critical of the England team and of Gareth Southgate. Do you think he's coming under a bit of pressure now, Tony?
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, Friday night shone the light on it. But with, like you say, you're going up against the third worst ranked team in the competition, and you're playing 2 holding midfielders. If we don't produce against the Czechs, if we scrape a 1-0 or if we go through another 0-0, which I've also read the other day that England now are the proud owners of the most 0-0s in championship games in the World Cup and Euros. We've had more 0-0s than any other country in all these competitions. So that just shows you where we are in these competitions. He's got to pull the rabbit out the bag tomorrow, James, and we've got to look like a forward-thinking country, a forward-thinking football team. of all the teams in the world who you'd thought the most negative teams that you've watched over your years, Italy, when Italy are the most attacking team in the competition, it just shows you the direction we need to go on. If Italy are doing it, bloody hell, away. Everyone goes on about the Premiership. All these players, top players, playing the Premiership. So let's just go for it, James. I know you have to be patient when there's 10 men behind the ball, but there's ways and there's means of getting the result. And Friday nights, we like you say, I think we just went out with the wrong attitude, and we were waiting for something to happen. When Stones hit the post, 6 inches the other side of the post, and we won up, and we're all absolutely bouncing off the roof again. You know what I mean, James? So
that's as good as it got.
It's just disappointing that we didn't work. Yeah, it's just disappointing we didn't work the worst goalkeeper in the competition, and like you say, a back three which only had one centre half, and we didn't bother them one bit.
Yeah, David, I was just going to mention to you there. There's some people saying that they might try and hedge the bets again. Tony mentioned it early in the show with regards to the result tomorrow night to try and get what some people might perceive as an easier side of the draw in the second round and maybe settle for finishing runners up tomorrow night and taking a draw against Czech Republic. One, do you think that'll happen? And two, how dangerous do you think it is to maybe try and do that?
Oh, it's extremely dangerous, and it's something I don't think you should even be contemplating at this stage. Obviously, you've got people got Southgate on the back burner, questioning his tactics and what have you. We need to lift morale and we need to get a win, and really a comfortable win. Scraping a 1-0 by playing boring football isn't gonna make people feel better. Going off what Guesty was saying earlier from what Gary Neville said about fatigue, I agree with Guesty. It doesn't wash with me. But for tomorrow, I think we need to get some fresh legs in there, and the people like Grealish, Maguire, people like that who haven't played any minutes, it's essential we get some minutes into them players for tomorrow, because if we are to progress, every player needs to have those minutes in their legs.
Yeah, good points, mate.
It's silly. It just shows you when you've got the German press questioning Gareth Southgate why he's not playing Sancho.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's been one of the most impressive players over in Germany again this season.
Yeah.
For me, he's never impressed me. Like I'm struggling to find out what the hype is about him when he's played for England. But even the Germans are questioning why he hasn't been picking him. So
I've seen Sancho's stats for the past 3 seasons in the Bundesliga, and they're extraordinary. So if he can replicate half of that in an England shirt, then we have got some talent. But we talk about these talents. For me, Southgate, I give him credit for selecting the younger players and what have you. I just don't think he's got it in him to get out the best out the attacking players, because he's too negative in his formation. And you see when Grealish came on, he didn't let Grealish roam. He
should have been in the middle, shouldn't he? He was stuck out wide, wasted time.
And it's just like he's setting up not to get beat rather than winning. And I think it's very negative.
No, that's fair points you're making there, David. All very valid.
Do you think, though, with playing Foden on wide right, he should be playing him in the middle?
Yeah.
I think he should be in the middle for me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, David, before we move off the Scotland game, one or two people have also said it's a very young squad, and I think the game on Friday saw us pick our youngest ever side for a competition match. The average age was about 25. And some people have maybe said that maybe their inexperience and the fact that there was also all of a sudden 20,000 fans back in the ground, that might have adversely affected the performance on Friday night. Do you buy any of that, Damon?
No. It's up to Southgate to get the best out of the players. If you put the England shirt on, you play for your country. If you don't want to play if you don't want to put the graft in, you won't be in the squad. It's as simple as that. I just think he's got too much attacking options. That's what's giving him a massive headache. He doesn't know who to pick, and that's why I agree with the lads. This is why they're saying there's too many to choose from. And who do you upset in the dressing room if you let them go? If you drop them, they're going to be upset. The likes of your Kyle Walkers, your Sterling, your Kanes, etc. You know. So I just don't know what's going to happen.
Just when we mentioned earlier on about trying to maybe manufacture a result, shall we say, tomorrow night, Lee Bailey said we've got to go for a win. We're going to have to play the better teams sooner or later. And I'd rather play France, for example, now rather than late in the competition when they've hit form.
Yeah.
You go along with that, Tony.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. You've got, like you say, you've got to play these teams. What you and Dave, going back on what you and Dave were saying on about, you know, going for the draw to get in the easy half of the draw. You know, we were fortunate enough to get beat by Belgium in the last World Cup and end up on the good side of the draw. You know what I mean? Still never done us any favours. We still got knocked out in the semis. You've got to go out. International footballers have got to go out and win every game. Absolutely every game. There was talk today about the Austria-Ukraine game. Austria have previous by allowing Germany to win a game in 1974 so they could both progress to the next round. But what I was watching there, you know what I mean? Teams can't go out no more and just play for a draw. You know, you've got to go out and get a win. Doesn't matter what half the draw you're in. Like I said earlier, only us English fans are concerned, are the only fans who are concerned about getting the easy draw in the next round. Yeah. There is no easy draws. There's no easy draws in the Euros. Every game's a hard game. Yeah. Look at Iceland. Freaking hell, we were all buzzing for Iceland, and look what they've done to us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So let's just, like you say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get out the group. Let's hope Southgate does somewhat positive because, but then again, if he's negative tomorrow and we get a 1-0 win and we top the group, the bloke's done nothing wrong. Do you know what I mean, James? It's what do we want?
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it?
We play better when we're seen as the underdogs rather than the favourites, don't we?
Yeah. Well, talking of that, lads, I'll come to you each in turn now. I'll start with you first, David. We've had just over a week of the tournament so far. Who's caught the eye for you? Which team? I'll give one team to say has impressed you.
Italy. Solid at the back. Experienced. You're not seeing any of this going back to the keeper, that Cellini and Bonucci, when they're under pressure, they'll go along and tell the strikers to go deal with it by chasing long balls. And they've got that good balance of experience and youth. And I quite fancy Italy to go far.
Okay. How about yourself, Damon?
The Dutch. I think the Dutch are quality on the ball as well. I just think with the youth as well in their squad, the likes of Grafenberg, these Dumfries lad, he's unbelievable right back. And I think he's only got a 12 million release clause at PSV, which is amazing. The big teams will be definitely going in for him, but definitely Holland for me.
Oliver, you and Tony, what about yourself?
Same as Dave, the Italians, you know what I mean? They've been a breath of fresh air, like you say. Italian teams in the past have been so rigid, you know, 1-0 Italian, they get 1-0 in front and the shutters go up. But Mancini's got these playing out the skin. Whether there always seems to be a team in a tournament who absolutely shine during the group stages, and that's their peak, which I think may happen to Italy. I think, like you say, this system that they're playing, it's really high press and full of energy, lots of running. It's can they keep that up for 6 games after a long season? You know what I mean, James?
Yeah.
Some of them have played a hell of a lot of games then to be running about like that. Plus, I don't know how fit Cellini is, whether he's going to be back. But they haven't been tested at the back. Yeah. I know they haven't been conceding. But like you say, I know they've gone 30 games unbeaten. I don't know who they've come up against in them 30 games. Don't forget, they never qualified for the last World Cup. So it's let's see what they're like when the back four's tested. But up to now, they're they're the best team to watch for me.
Well,
Especially that.
I just think
that
Italian
little kid, that Insigne, brilliant.
Yeah. David, I know you said, my tips so far would be probably Belgium have really impressed me. I mean, they were good in the first game when they won 3-0. And then the second game against Denmark, what shone out for me was they showed a bit of character. They went 1-0 down, and then he made changes off the bench, and they were absolutely transformed second half. And that just frightens me that you can think, even when the chips are down, they look like they can bring players on and make a massive difference. And they look the team for me at the minute. They look the boys, Belgium. But like you say,
we should have done, James, though, wasn't it? Exactly. Yeah. They brought Hazard and what's his name on, and De Bruyne, and just changed the game completely. You know, why didn't we do something similar? And that's just the difference in class, isn't it?
Yeah. David, I was just going to say as well. Oh, go on, sorry, Tony.
I think they're giving their second stringer run out tonight, and the Belgians. Where I think De Bruyne will be starting, Hazard will be starting. You know what I mean? So the strength and depth in that squad. You know what I mean?
Definitely. David, I was just going to mention there. Is it a surprise for you that out of the first 2 rounder matches, there was only 3 of the 24 teams had won 2 games? Does that maybe show that the teams are quite evenly matched in this competition?
I think so. They're usually cautious, aren't they, the first 2 games, because nobody usually wants to lose them. But I think the impact of having crowds in the stadium is impacted the matches as well. I watched Hungary v France on Saturday, and it's daft as it was, but the 61,000 fans in there lifted Hungary, and I think that helped them to get a result.
Yeah, definitely. You're right, mate. You're right. Well, focus switches back onto England tomorrow night, Tony. Czech Republic. It's our last group game. The Czechs have also got 4 points from their first 2 games. Have they surprised you?
Well, you thought that the main threat in the group was going to be Croatia. Yeah. They've done really well there. They've got a good win against Scotland. People keep going on about how many chances Scotland have, but they still never scored. Then the kid up front, he took both his chances. Yeah. They got a good draw with Croatia. So I just like you say, when you look at the opposition, when you go man to man, and you see Callas is one of their main centre halves, you've still got to fancy us. I know I made this mistake with Lyndon Dykes and the goalkeeper the other day, but I can't see past it, James. You know what I mean? We've got players who should be tying Callas up in knots. They're in there with a fighting chance. It's going to be a funny old game because both teams just need a point, James, and first or second, we're still going to end up playing a team from Germany, France, and Portugal. So let's just get on with it and let's just enjoy it. But hopefully, like you say, England fans want to see some good football on Tuesday night, and they want to see some attacking football. We all, like you say, we went to the Austria game. I know it was only a friendly, and by the looks of it, James, that was a sign of things to come. Yeah. the way we played that night. Yeah, because there's been no improvement since then.
Yeah, I mean, Damon, it's less than 2 years ago, I think, since we played Czech Republic in the qualifiers for this competition, and we actually beat them 5-0 at Wembley. Now, I'm not suggesting it's going to be 5-0 tomorrow night, but I think that shows, in a way, the strides that the Czech Republic have made in the last couple of years. That they've, from that game in March 2019 to now, they've come from a 5-0 defeat at Wembley to now top in the group that England are in, and they're going to be a real challenge tomorrow night, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got the player up front, Patrick Schick. He's a player. The goal he scored against Scotland was unbelievable, wasn't it? 49 yards out, or whatever it was. Keeper had no chance, obviously, but definitely a good player. But they've got other good players in there as well. It's just up to them and mark them out the game. Hopefully, I think it'll be a narrow win, but definitely going to be tough.
There's no easy games in the Euros. We all know that.
Yeah. Well, we'll come on to the predictions in a minute. And David, I was just going to ask you there, how important is it that we win tomorrow night? Forgetting about where it puts you in the places, finishing top, second, whatever. Just how important is it to win and get everybody back on side again?
Yeah, you want to finish the group as winners, most importantly, and that'll lift spirits going into the fans. And not just that, the media as well. The media seem to have turned on Southgate, which in turn gets the fans on the back. So there's a lot of pressure on the result tomorrow. I know people think, a draw will get us through, but a draw's not going to do us any good. We all need to be united to progress in the competition. So we need to win at all costs tomorrow. And let's not get ahead of ourselves. They've got a youthful team, Czech Republic, so it's going to be a really difficult game. But if we can get a 2-0 win, that'll lift spirits for the whole nation.
Yeah. Right, well, I've got my ace tipsters here again on the show. So, Tony, you're number one man here, so I'm coming to you first, pal. Prediction for tomorrow night's game against Czech Republic?
2-0. And I'm even going to put my neck on the block. Harry Kane, Scot 2 tomorrow night.
I don't think that's a bad shout, Tony. I don't think that's a bad shout. Go on, David.
Well, I said for against Scotland, it was Borough v Hereford, didn't I? So tomorrow is going to be Borough v Chesterfield of the semi-final.
What, the first game or the replay?
Yeah, the first game.
It's a replay.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be tight tomorrow. I'm with Tony. I think it's going to be either 2-0 or a 2-1 result.
2-1, yeah. And Damon?
2-1 for me. Patrick Schick for them and Kane and Sterling for us.
Right. Yeah, I'll go along with that 2-1. I fancy a 2-1 tomorrow night. And we might as well, seeing as though we had a laugh at Scotland's expense last week and they've got a good point against us. How do you reckon they'll do in their final game, lads, against Croatia? Do you think they'll make history tomorrow, Tony? Do you think they'll get the win they need to get through, or will it be poor old tragic Scotland once again?
Yeah. I always remember Archie Gemmell dancing round that Dutch defence when they beat them 3-1, and that World Cup, what was he called? Friggin' Ali McLeod. We're on the match with Ali's army, and he came out in the press saying they were going to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think the first game was Peru. They got absolutely battered off Peru. Yeah. And when I don't think anyone, Peru then was somewhere that someone had just been discovered, you know what I mean? But they had to beat the Dutch by how many goals, and still they went on to beat the Dutch, who got the final.
Jesus.
But they still failed miserably there because they didn't score enough goals and they conceded one at the other end. So they're not going to get out of the group. The Croatians, God, I'm setting myself right up here, but I think the Croatians will batter them.
I'm letting you dig the grave.
Come on.
You can dig the grave.
I just have no time for them. I just think, they don't like us. I don't like them. So I just thought rugby, tiddlywinks, golf. I don't like Sam Torrance or none of them. All the jocks. I just thought they get beat at everything.
I thought this was heading down an AJT route of Ellen Road and Leeds United there, Tony. We've been down this path.
No.
It's gone beyond that.
I've stayed up Scotland. I've stayed in some beautiful places up Scotland. The people are absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to sport, they can't stand us and I can't stand them.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
David, so you don't think they'll get the Croats tomorrow night?
I don't know, because I felt confident when they were playing Czech Republic. I thought they were going to get a good result against there. So, and then look what happened there.
Don't be weakening, Dave. Don't be weakening.
No, I can't see them
You'll be congratulating the Welsh next.
Michael Pennant's having a diplomacy guesty.
I hope they get to be fair. I really do hope they get beat just to shut them up.
And
They'll
David,
never shut them up. How can you shut them up when they're still celebrating a 0-0 draw?
I know, yeah.
well, I did hear they've got the open top bus which brought back the World Cup from Argentina in 1978. They've dug that out ready for Wednesday morning when they qualified for the second round. So I've been told. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, wait there.
Damon, do you give any hope to Scotland beating Croatia tomorrow night?
Absolutely not. I hate Scotland as much as everyone else in this country does. I think it'll be 3-0 to Croatia.
Oh,
Easy.
Jesus.
Oh, blow my neck. Well,
We know what's going to happen now, don't we?
Scotland are going to win. Yeah.
Listen, I can set myself up. I'm not bothered. I don't care.
Joe's done well this week, hasn't he? Skip this week.
Yeah. Yeah, well, all will be revealed next week, lads. Before we leave the show, just a couple of other things. Borough things. Fixtures for next season come out on Thursday, lads. Football League fixtures. Who do you reckon we're going to get first game of the season? Home or away? Or who would you like? Tony, what do you fancy first day of the season?
Well, when it's early doors in August again, won't it? The first Saturday in August, the sun will be out, so hopefully Blackpool away.
No chance of them letting us go to Blackpool on a Saturday, is there, Tony?
No,
Definitely not in August
No.
either.
Tuesday night, all along that, isn't it?
That'd be like you say, a game against Blackpool with the sun out in the summer. It'd be absolutely divine, but it's not. We can dream.
Yeah. How about you, David? Who do you fancy opening doors?
I want a local trip away, selfishly, because the second week I get my second jab, so we don't know what state we're going to be allowed into the ground yet, do we? Unless you've had both jabs. So
Yeah.
no, I'd like an away trip of somewhere local like Huddersfield or Hull to open us up with.
Yeah, that could be a good shout. How about yourself, Damo?
I want Fulham at home.
Fulham at home. Oh, home game. Well,
Fulham
that'll
at
all
home,
be.
yeah. I just think if you've got a signal of intent for the season, you're gonna have to play the big boys early doors and then set our stall out.
Mm.
Well, we've done that. We've done that last season, Damon, didn't we? Played the big boys all early doors, and it built, it built all our hopes up.
Yeah, and it went pear-shaped, didn't it? So
Watford played Watford first game, and then what was it? Norwich or Bournemouth? Bournemouth at
Watford
home.
and Bournemouth were our first two. Yeah.
Bournemouth,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bournemouth, yeah.
Just
I'll tell you what wouldn't be a bad shout.
Go on.
Craven Cottage will be nice in the summer.
Yeah. Although Michael
Will
Pellet's
it?
been in touch, Tony, and he's just said you maybe don't want to go to Blackpool because it's full of Scots and they might be looking out for you, mate.
No, it's Scottish. It's Scottish fortnight. It's Scottish fortnight. The last week in July and the first week in August. So they'll have all gone home.
Method in your madness.
Well, talking to the Football League fixtures coming out on Thursday, one team who will be on that list of Football League fixtures are Hartlepool United. I don't know if you lads watched that game yesterday. What a roller coaster of emotions was watching, not even as a Hartlepool fan watching it. But David, I mean, you live close to the town. What's it been like the last 24 hours there?
Jeez, I've only just got to sleep from everybody on the estate beeping the friggin' horns. I played football last night, and then afterwards I drove through the town and there was all people out on the streets drinking in the pubs, and it was refreshing to see. And honestly, they've been through the mill the last couple of years, Hartlepool, and they were so close to not existing. So Raj Singh, who got a lot of bad publicity, he's turned it around at that club. And I know everybody says how much it means for the community, but for this town, it's the heartbeat of the football. You know, they all meet up on match days like we do at the Riverside Stadium, and they're back to where they belong. And to see Brad James, I thought he had a nervy game. To finish how he did can only be good for him and for hopefully Borough in the future.
Yeah, definitely, David. I echo that 100%. And Tony, I mean, they showed a lot of character because that could have sent a lot of teams under, conceding a goal in injury time and the way they conceded it. Yet they still bounced back from that and they showed massive character, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't see none of the game, but I was getting updates, and I went out about 4:00, and when I got to where I was going, one of the lads got out the car saying Torquay's goalkeeper had just equalised.
Yeah.
So put us on a bit of a downer. But I just said to him, well, remember what Alf Ramsey said, you've won it once, go win it again.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. They're being involved, like you say, I never had much interest in Hartlepool. You know, it was just another team in the Northeast for me. But when Borough Fan TV got involved with Hartlepool, when they were in the shit street and they were trying to raise funds, going over to Hartlepool and meeting the people and talking to the people who were in and around the fundraising, like you said there, that club's massive for the community. Darlington was massive for Darlington. And for our area, we need as many teams as we can in the Football League, James. So
exactly.
it's great to have them back. And I hope now, which has happened in the past, I just hope they go from strength to strength.
Yeah.
Yeah,
James,
definitely.
watching that game yesterday, did you watch it yourself? And when you see the goals get disallowed for Torquay and they missed a few cities, if you're a Hartlepool fan, you're thinking, oh, this is our day, it's all going for us. And then when you see the keeper come up and do that, you're like, oh my God.
And then just even then penalties, David, when the first 4 penalties were missed, and I just thought that keeper for Torquay, I thought he's not going to get beaten again. He just like it was as though he was psyching everybody out, and I just thought I can't see Hartlepool winning this. But as you said, Brad James didn't have the greatest of games, but he ended up being the hero. And as you said, Tony, I just think it's fantastic. I'd much rather have Hartlepool United, no offence to Torquay, but I'd much rather have Hartlepool United in the Football League. And we need stuff like that in the North East. And I wish them nothing but good luck next season, David.
Yeah, I do.
Me too.
And Damon, the important stuff is, I mean, they've got a fair chance of playing Sunderland in the Papa John's Trophy next year. I mean, that's a big challenge for Sunderland coming up against Hartlepool, isn't it?
It is. And I hope Hartlepool stuff them, because I can't stand Sunderland.
Stuff crust
I don't
them.
think any of us can be my fans.
Well, I think that's
exactly.
Yeah, we'll leave it on that for this evening. Thanks to everybody out there for watching and contributing to the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Many thanks again to Damon, David and Tony for joining us. Thanks for being on board tonight, lads.
No, pleasure.
Always great. Always good.
Good stuff. As we mentioned, fixtures come out on Thursday, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to Borough Fan TV. So we'll have the latest information with regards to Borough's fixtures for next season, not just the opening day. The plan is for us to be back at 7 o'clock next Monday, but depending on where England finish in the group, we could be playing next Monday tea time, so the show may get bumped back a day. We don't know yet. We'll let you know later in the week, but we'll definitely be on at some point next week. So until then, enjoy the football, take care of each other. Until next week, from us all here at Borough Fan TV, good night and come on England.
Come on, England.
Come on, England.